1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in they Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters gon' move, whatever click you choose.
Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Yeah, that's me gassing on that intro. And if you want to get that song, hit me up on my email, 16tolifemusic@gmail.com, and I'll give you the information on how to get it. And so now let's get into today's video. So lately in my comments, I've been seeing people leave some comments pertaining to, should a grown gang member get Dp'd, which is a physical discipline. And my honest opinion on that is 100% absolutely, if he happens to fall out of the regulations, the guidelines, the actions, the conduct code of whatever organization he represents, right? And the main 3 reasons is, 1, because nobody is bigger than the program. When you're a gang member, whether those out there watching the viewers agree with the ideology and the overall practice of gang banging or not, nobody's bigger than the program. You're representing something that's bigger than yourself, and your actions affect others, right? And also, listen, man, a discipline, if we gonna keep it real, when you are representing something that's bigger than yourself, is the American way. It don't matter, man, if you in the Boy Scouts, if you in the Marines, if you working at Taco Bell, if you working at a top high-tech IBM type computer company. If you mess up, you gonna get discipline, right? The discipline may not be physical, but if you at Taco Bell and you putting too much meat and cheese on the tacos, eventually the manager is gonna say something to you. You costing money, so on and so forth. If you continue to do it, you may be removed, you may be suspended, you may be actually fired for being insubordinate. So it's the American way, right? Now, of course, when we talking about gang banging and a situation of life and death, then it's very important, right, that you stay within the guidelines of whatever your organization, gang hood, has outlined for you guys to follow, because once again, like I said, your actions can affect other people. And also, you're representing something bigger than yourself, man. Your main objective as a gang member is to make your hood shine. You know what I'm saying? Everything you doing, whether you realize it or not, is in representation of your hood, right? And so then your reputation comes second. So if you do something that's out of policy or out of the codes of gang banging, or sometimes maybe even the unwritten codes, then yes, you need to be Dp'd, right? Whether it's a physical, you might get a verbal talking to, you might have to be removed from the hood, you know what I'm saying? Because once again, your actions reflect on whatever community or hood you represent. Now, I'll be the first to say that when I grew up, my area was small, my territory was nothing like the circumstances that individuals face in some of these more bigger cities, like Los Angeles, Long Beach, or whatever, right? But we still had a few, I want to say, codes of conduct, right? One of the main things we had was not doing anything stupid to bring unnecessary attention or heat to the hood. And I'm talking about the police, maybe taking a gun and shooting up in the air when it was unnecessary, because now you're bringing attention over there. Now you got dudes out there hustling, doing things. The police may pull up unexpectedly. You got 4 or 5 dudes who have to take off running, throwing they sack, this and that. If you was doing something dumb that was unnecessary and brought the police police out over there, then you was very liable to be disciplined. Another thing was being out in the hood high on Sherm. Sherm is known as PCP, and it affects others differently, but sometimes, it puts individuals in a position where they're not able to protect themselves. And when you out there in the streets, anything volatile and spontaneous can happen. You definitely need to be able to protect yourself. And so that was one of the things, right, that could get you disciplined, right, among other things, right, like some of the unwritten things. But like I said, when you're in an area, a city, a territory where there are definitely more deadly situations, your conduct is extremely important, because once again, not only does it affect you, it affects others, right? And so one good thing about having your own YouTube channel, you can do your own commercials. Hey, look, I just put a fresh upload on my other channel, No Chill For Real. So when you finish with this, be sure to go check it out. No Chill For Real. So if you happen to do something that's not in line with gang code or whatever code your hood or your organization follows, then of course you need to be disciplined, because you knew all this, or at least you should have knew all this. And I cannot stress enough, when we are dealing with matters of life and death, it's very important, right? Because your action or the actions of a foul individual could get the homie killed, right? Let me name off a few things that could get a dude discipline. Like I said, if your actions affecting somebody else, or if it's a negative effect on the hood, being disloyal. If you disloyal to your homies, that's something. At least in my generation nowadays, it seems like things is a little bit different, because now you have a lot of individuals who are not, quote unquote, well, they're not friends. You know what I'm saying? A lot of individuals from my generation, we were friends before we became, quote unquote, homies in the gang world. But if you disloyal to your friend, like say for instance, y'all out there on the block, your homie, y'all hustling. Your homie happens to drop his sack, and when I say sack, I'm talking about whatever bag or whatever he has his items that he's selling in, right? That's what's referred to as a sack. Whether it's in a capsule or whatever you got it in, a paper bag or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So say your homeboy drops his sack. You look around, you see he don't realize it. You reach down and you pick it up. Unbeknownst to you, maybe some smoker over there in the corner, he done spotted you or whatever. Maybe your homegirl or something. Your homie goes on, he looking all over the place. Word eventually gets out that you have it. That's being disloyal, because there was a saying that went, you can't miss what you ain't never had. So when you pick up the sack, you look at it, you like, oh man, this is about $2,000 worth of product. But you really can't miss that because it was never yours. There was no way you woke up knowing that your homeboy was gonna drop his sack. So just being unloyal, failing to return his sack was, could be seen as a sign of disloyalty right now. And honestly, your homeboy may reward you or he may not. But honestly, in my opinion, a homie shouldn't be rewarded for doing the right thing. But, like I said, man, in my era, we grew up, we was like family. We was like brothers, you know what I'm saying? And so, so something like that. Or if you out, you representing, you know what I'm saying? Some dudes push up on you. You might be by yourself or with your female at the movies. It's 4 or 5 of them. They bang on you, ask where you from. You say you don't bang no more or whatever, turning down a fade or doing something that could be considered an act of cowardice that makes the hood look bad. Definitely gonna get Dp'd for that. Possibly even put off the hood because, it's not in you. And if you're gonna be faking and fronting, it's no need to even be representing, right? And when I say your actions affect others, this is what I'm talking about too. Say you may go out and do something, right? You may do something, and I'm gonna give y'all a scenario, right, about something that happened a while ago since I've been out, right? We had a homie from our area go and rob somebody, which was a personal lick. And then he yells out the hood, which was stupid. If you're going to put the robbery down, right? He went and robbed some other gang members, right, from another section. And now, of course, so when he yells out the hood, you have dudes that he robbed, people from the hood, they call back, and now they want the items that was taken. They want that stuff returned because, they know who did it. Now, had this dude just hit the lick, he would have been all right? But that was something that put homies at risk, right? Because he didn't come to the hood and share none of that stuff with nobody. You know what I'm saying? He kept that personal. So now you are putting homies who rep what you rep at risk. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just certain things like that, right, that can get other individuals crossed up. And so and that's why I always harp on at times when I hear dudes say, man, they're locked up for a murder that they didn't commit, but they want their homeboy. They know who did it because they're from the same hood, and they want their homeboy to come turn himself in. Absolutely not. You know, when you join a hood, the good goes with the bad and the bad goes with the good. You know, say some dudes just happen to slide through your hood on some regular gang banging missions and they shoot you. Then you got 2 or 3 homies who slide out to go get revenge, right? And they go put their life on the line and they get caught up or whatever. Are you fit to go turn yourself in? You know what I'm saying? And say, hey, they was sliding for me. Let them out. Of course you not. You know, it all comes with the territory. So the good comes with the bad comes with the good. You know, if you go out and you pop somebody, you pop a few dudes, right? You let your homies know, hey, listen, I just got into it with these dudes. You know, I popped on them. Maybe the next day they slide through, or maybe 45 minutes later they slide through, you know, looking for you, but also whoever they can catch specifically representing your hood. Say they happen to see one of your homeboys. They catch him, lay him down, put him in the casket. Are you fit to go hop in the casket for him? Absolutely not. So that's what I'm saying. You know, the good comes with the bad, man. You know, it's crazy when I hear dudes talking about, yeah, JoJo did this, man. He need to come turn himself in. Man, it all goes with gang banging, right? And so, you know, and of course, I mean, this is an unwritten rule. This goes without saying. If you tell on somebody, you know, you are going to be disciplined. You know, you're going to be beat up, put off the hood, sent on your way. It might be worse than that. You know what I'm saying? And that's a form of discipline. I'm not going to say this next individual. I was in the pen with a dude, and he was doing some things in his hood that he shouldn't have done, you know. And the dude self-reported, told his homies, and his homies took him out. You know what I'm saying? And that was a form of discipline. You know what I'm saying? But it's like that. So anytime you do something that does not align with the rules that your hood may have established, or sometimes even the unwritten rules, yes, you know, you're going to get a discipline, and structure is very necessary, even though there is not a whole lot of structure at times with all gangs, but structure is very necessary. Nobody is bigger than the program, and that is something that should be embedded and implemented into every person, because when individuals think that they can just run amok, and some gang members think that, right? Because at the end of the day, that is the mentality of a lot of gang members. I mean, that's supposed to be the mentality of all gang members. I'm tough, I'm bad, I'm not turning nothing down. But at the same time, you have to have a love and respect for the homies who represent the same thing that you represent, and you can't just do as you please to the point where your actions start to jeopardize their lives and their safety. Because once again, gang banging is a matter of life and death. And so you should know all that when you hop off the porch. You know, a lot of times in my comments, a lot of the individuals who disagree with people getting discipline are not from California, and I feel that they just don't understand the gang politics. It's very, very serious. And once again, we all know, man, working for Donald Trump, you do the wrong thing, you gonna get disciplined. He gonna fire you. See you later, bye. Don't holler, don't cry. He gonna send you up out of there. That's a form of discipline. It may not be physical, but if you mess up, you're gonna get disciplined. If you on a baseball team, you miss too many softballs, they pull you out or too many line drives, they pull you out the game. You know, you swinging at bad pitches, they gonna put you on the bench. You know, you playing basketball, you taking ill-advised shots, you're not hustling, whatever. That's a form of discipline. Anytime you are engaging in a team sport, you are going to be subject to a form of discipline. So whether you guys agree with the whole ideology and mentality of gang banging, I can understand that, right? But for an individual who's in a gang and he does something that could potentially get somebody seriously harmed or killed, yes, you know, there needs to be discipline. There needs to be structure at all times, man. But anyway, one good thing about having your own YouTube channel, you can do your own commercials. Hey, look, I just put a fresh upload on my other channel, No Chill For Real. So when you finish with this, be sure to go check it out. No Chill For Real. You already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.